G'day legends of the Jurg's Cup. Chewy back again. This is the third episode of the build of this T-style guitar. A little bit of progress will be made in this episode. I'm going to glue some bits of wood together for the bottom part of this guitar and then do a little bit of shaping around here. Nothing too challenging or difficult here, but another step in the right direction anyway. I also want to talk a little bit about making guitars on a bit of a budget, because not all of us have thicknesses and sanding machines and, you know, all of the big power tools like a bandsaw and drill presses and all of those kinds of things that it takes. And I'd like to talk about my little bit of a journey on how I've been able to thickness timber without a thicknesser machine. And I'll get into that a little bit later as I'm building. Here we go. I'm going to show you how I laminate these bits of timber together, which timbers I chose, and, you know, yeah, and that's it. I'm shit. If you remember from last episode, I decided to make the top of this out of blackheart sassafras, and I've chosen some King Billy pine, probably King Billy pine, not exactly sure. This is reclaimed timber from an old either window frame or door frame, I'm not exactly sure. And I've got a couple of strips of laminate, which is a darker colour, a strip of, I'm guessing it's myrtle, but I'm not exactly sure. It's definitely a hardwood. It's got some figuring there, but I'm using this side. It's a shame to not really use that in the best way I possibly can, but I do like to have a bit of character to the back of the guitar. This is a pretty plain sort of a timber. You can see it's got a few bits that I have to be able to avoid, and I also needed this strip in order to make the thickness, the right thickness, to match the body that I've got here. There's a lot of finagling and fiddling, and I don't mind a bit of a fiddle. Yeah, in order to make this fit, I needed a little bit more timber in the centre. Alright, I'm going to glue this together, clamp it together, let it dry, and get on to some sanding. While I'm putting a few more clamps on this, I want to talk about the idea of using the big machines without owning the big machines, and how do you get access to them. I live in a little country town in Tasmania, and a lot of little country towns in Tasmania have a thing called a men's shed or a community shed. It's an organisation run by usually retired blokes or people, retired people in the community, and they get government grants and raise funds and buy machines and woodworking tools. And I'm just very, very fortunate that in this town there is a really well-equipped men's shed with thicknessing machines and tools and people with knowledge and know-how. And I think the way to get involved in these kinds of places is get involved in your community. I play lawn bowls, and yeah, it's got a reputation for being an old person's sport. And you know what? That's a pretty good thing, because some of the old people around here have got knowledge, and they've got skills, and they've got know-how, and they've also got an open mind to learning, which is really, really cool. some of the old fellas have learned a thing or two from me, from going down there and using their machines, watching YouTube videos to learn how to do this. And in this reciprocal relationship of learning and doing, you've got a community of like-minded people who work together. They're willing to assist and help in any way they can. It's really amazing. I made some really good mates, and I'm really privileged to be able to use the tools and skills and expertise of people in the community. The other thing is about budget. I'm using cheap clamps from Bunnings. These things have lasted a while. Now, advice from bigger and better woodworkers and YouTube creators and guitar makers would be to buy quality tools. I have to agree, quality tools are much better than these things. But when you're first starting out and you don't know how long you're going to do it for, it's probably better to just work on a budget and then go from there. You know, there are many limitations to what I can do with these tools because I don't have all the sizes of things that I want and need, but I can always borrow them once again from places like the men's shed. They are so generous and kind. But I've bought a bunch of clamps cheap on Bunnings. One of them doesn't work already, but it's been already over a year, and I've made a lot of guitars. Now you might notice I don't really care about, you know, I'm not being too fussy right now about the thickness of everything because I've got to take about 10 mil off this board anyway. Now that's a really big job if you have to do it by hand. Now luckily I can take this back up to the men's shed and run it through the thickness machine. It'll take about 5 minutes. Very, very fortunate. I would highly recommend, if you are in a community where you have these resources available to you, that you take full advantage of them. Well, that's pretty well clamped up. I'm not going to over tighten it at all. And I'll let that sit until tomorrow, and then I will cut it down to size and get it ready for the back of this guitar. That isn't one of the more fun jobs in making guitars. Alright legends, thanks for watching. I hope you learned at least one little thing, even if it's just an attitude or an idea of how to go about getting the resources together to be able to do something like this. Good luck to all of the builders in the Jurg's Cup. I hope you're building just instruments that make you happy and sound great. Above the way that they look, I hope they feel good and sound good. I know that that's where I'm enjoying the guitar process, is I'm building instruments that make me happy when I play them. And I just didn't think it was something that was in me until I started doing this a year ago. Alright, till next time. See you later.